Danger! The content in this podcast is spicy. Don't blame us if you need an ice pack for your ears. Listener discretion is advised. Your episode begins in 3, 2, 1. So hello, my lovelies. Welcome to the Lusty Library Screening Room Edition.
Ooh. Who brought the popcorn?
Oh, fuck. I don't have any popcorn. You just reminded me.
Ugh.
Nobody wants to listen to me chew popcorn. It's fine.
I was just thinking
It's
that,
fine.
it's okay if once in a while, we're chomping on a cherry or an olive, but eating by a microphone.
Especially where, Birdie, you eat popcorn in the most interesting manner with chopsticks, one kernel at a time.
I maintain it's the best way to learn how to use chopsticks.
Yeah.
It also holds me back
Sure.
from eating a fistful every time because I will. It's because popcorn is my favorite food of all time.
Yeah.
And if I don't put a governor on my consumption, it's absurd.
I'm not going to be the person to tell you not to indulge fully and with passion.
I don't know if you've seen the Instagram videos recently of the tiny little baby Highland cows eating a wheelbarrow of popcorn.
Mm-mm.
Little cows and goats. And
I'm
they're all
going to
like,
have to Google that.
oh, it's too cute. And I'm sitting there
obsessed
going,
with Highland cows.
oh, that's just about the right amount for me. Can you get those goats out of there? Thank you.
All right, holiday gift, just a wheelbarrow of popcorn.
That's somebody's kink, I'm sure.
You're going to rule
Probably.
34 that already?
It always goes there.
Okay.
So let me tell you, listeners, we had a unique opportunity. We were invited to go to the pre-release screening of A24's new movie, Babygirl, with Nicole Kidman and Antonio Banderas. But unfortunately, it was a 2 out of the 3 because somebody else had to go to a tropical island.
Yeah, you mean I had to take the first vacation that I've had in like 2 years?
Instead of schlepping yourself to downtown Boston, looking for a parking spot, walking up 1.5 miles on Tremont Street.
Yep. I am actually really bummed I missed it. So I'm excited to hear about the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me all about it.
For those of you who haven't heard of this film yet, let me give you just the quick synopsis. A high-powered CEO puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair with a much younger intern. Bah, bah, bah.
Oh, that's the whole synopsis.
That's the whole
Yeah,
synopsis.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, that is what the trailer showed us. So fair enough.
With a little bit more spice and steam in there.
I mean, the trailer is spicy.
So when I
Ow.
saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is why we got invited.
You're right.
Because there's very definitely, or at least in the trailer, a leaning of a little BDSM, Dom sub. We've got a little age gap in there. Definitely playing with some power dynamics.
Forbidden romance.
Uh-huh. Really was like excited to go see this. Did very much enjoy watching it, but maybe not for the reasons that I thought I was going to when I went into the movie.
Oh, fair enough.
I was actually surprised it wasn't so much focusing on the whole Dom sub piece. Like I was expecting definitely much more of like a 90s sexual thriller.
Uh-huh.
It started very much going in sort of a Fatal Attraction sort of way. And I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, which it doesn't. And I think it's actually very purposeful. But I was also expecting it to be much more sexy.
Oh, that's really interesting because the trailer makes it seem like it is going to go full steam.
Steam-tastic.
I would say there's a lot of montages that go through that instead of long, like 9.5 weeks kind of scenes.
Okay.
First of all, let me say that it's shot beautifully. 80% of the time. I almost feel like there's a secondary unit on there somewhere that didn't do as well the rest of the movie, but like there's some key shots that are just so gorgeous. And the opener, the camera is like shallow focused on her face, and you can tell she's riding someone.
Yep.
And having this very Hollywood cute orgasm. And as she crests, she goes back and it reveals his face on the pillow. So like you're coming from this overhead shot. It's like so beautifully done. It reveals who she's having sex with, and it's her husband, who's Antonio Banderas.
Meow.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Is his name in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she dismounts. They do the cute little cuddle thing. He falls asleep, and she immediately, quietly hops out of bed, goes to another floor, gets her laptop out, pulls up some porn, and rubs one out.
Yeah. Until she has an orgasm.
Yep.
Which is so different than the orgasm you just watched her have on top of her husband.
She's trying to stay as quiet as possible.
Quote, watched her have. Yeah, she's faking it, folks.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And it's just revealed throughout the movie that she is not having a sexually satisfying relationship with her husband, who seems very into her, very much wants her to be sexually fulfilled. But she is incapable of expressing to him what she needs, and what she wants is something dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad that she can't express it to him.
Here is a life that you think is absolutely beautiful. Romy is a CEO of this amazing company that does all this automation.
Yep.
She lives in New York. You see this beautiful penthouse. She's got two gorgeous kids. Her husband of 19 years is a director in the theater. So when you step back and you look from the outside, you say, this woman wants for nothing. And she herself is beautiful.
Right.
Tall, slim, powerful, in control.
You see what she goes through to keep the physique, both as far as fitness and then also getting the Botox. Just how much she goes through to have this perfect life, and how much she physically constructs it. Yet somehow she's not able to express what she needs in the bedroom. But that's just the framework for where she is. Then she's walking down the street of New York one day, going to work, and there's this incident with a dog that's gotten loose from its owner, that it seems aggressive, that the people around are scared, and it's coming towards her. And somebody stops, calls the dog, gets the dog under control.
In a very alpha manner.
Yes.
So he is very commanding of the dog, uses that forceful tone where they're indicating that they're the alpha and the dog is to be the submissive.
Gets the dog back to the owner, and she observes this whole thing.
Bertie, your face is saying everything.
And this is where we think it's going, right? That she's responding to this alpha.
Dog training kink.
Well,
Training kink, yeah.
Dog training kink.
Let's remove the dog component, but I think Lex is right on path with the training kink.
I mean, yeah, to each their own. Okay, sorry, carry on.
That's okay. So Romy heads to work, gets to her exclusive office. She's got this fantastic assistant who you can also see as a power lady in training, who's played by Sophie Wilde, and she's just awesome. I love her. But she brings in the new interns to be met, and they all come in, and guess who's in the middle of the interns? But this young man who's given off the alpha vibes.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who dares ask a question, which is actually very challenging to what the company does. And the intern's like, okay, that's enough questions for now, and goes away.
It's not like he asks a question like, what is it like to work here? His question, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it is a very controversial question, completely inappropriate at that time in front of the CEO of the company that you're interning in.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And so they keep having these random meetings. They meet in like the break room. And again, he kind of acts inappropriately towards her in a very sort of alpha male way.
I think it's a slow build up
Yeah.
to that. So he's really feeling her out. I think when he met her on the street, he saw one reaction.
Mhm.
When he went in the office and he asked his question, he felt her out, saw her reaction. So each of these encounters that he's having with her is gauging her reaction. So he starts to tweak sort of how he approaches her, and kind of like the heat is slowly getting turned up and he's kind of feeling her out.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
So at this point in the game,
Mhm.
do you actually like the three? I mean, maybe the husband isn't a main character, but I want to know, do you, from the limited time that you get to see him, do you like the husband?
Yes.
Okay. And do you like her, and do you like dog trainer boy?
I do like her. With each interaction with, his name is Samuel.
Okay,
So-
Samuel.
Yeah. It started off okay. I was intrigued at first, just as Romy is. There's some heat building at that point.
Okay. Is the proverbial viewer supposed to like him?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, you're supposed to be intrigued and titillated.
Okay.
He's young. Probably he's
pup.
looking like
Yeah.
maybe early 20s. You think about college internships, so on and so forth.
Old enough to drink.
I like your dog reference, Lex. He's a pup.
He's a pup.
Nice. Nice.
He definitely plays off as being a native New Yorker,
Yeah.
a little bit on the rougher side. Not even rougher, probably unpolished
Yeah.
is more the words. He's wearing a suit, he's wearing a tie, but you're not talking about a bespoke suit.
Right.
Dude went to Men's Warehouse and bought 3 suits for his internship for $199.
And
Okay.
they all look a little slightly rumpled.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So he definitely has more of a bad boy appeal. I think initially my gut when I saw him, I thought he was attractive. What I didn't get in what my sense of this movie was an alpha. I didn't feel the alpha at the tips of my toes all the way up to my fingertips.
But you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Sorta, kinda. I think as we continue to talk about this movie, I think there were just more layers to it than what anybody initially thinks when they're watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I think it is a little more alpha leaning up until they actually start getting into a relationship. So he finagles his way to be her intern. She's his mentor. And she's like, I'm not a part of that program. But I suspect Esme, the assistant, made sure she was on the list.
Or she's always been on the list to be a mentor and no
Nobody
one's ever had
picked
the
her.
balls of steel
That's true.
Oh.
to choose her. But he's like right off the bat because he's been feeling her out and watching her reactions.
Because he wants to feel her out.
Mm-hmm.
So for their first meeting, she's like, I don't have time for this. You have 7 minutes. And their first meeting, there's a lot of tit for tat. She's very resistant. He keeps pushing her. And at the end, isn't that where the first kiss comes?
Of the first meeting?
Yeah.
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 Oh, my.
Oh, this is in the office, too.
In the
This is their
office.
first mentor-mentee
Right.
meeting.
I assumed we were in the office and everything, but
Mhm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
first meeting.
Oh, yeah. And he makes a bit of an aggressive stance where he's like, you want to be told what to do. He's been pushing and prodding and watching the reaction, and he knows. He can just tell with the way she reacts back to him that she wants that.
So even after the kiss, she's like, what?
What are you doing? We
Yeah.
can't do this.
It's a short interaction.
Clearly, you're seeing Romy's character is attracted to him. She is drawn to him. Anytime they're in the room, she's watching him. She's following him. She senses him whenever he's standing there. So
Okay.
there's a clear attraction between the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. She goes to the bar. She actually accepts an after-work invitation, which she usually doesn't do because she has observed that Samuel has been going with some of the other coworkers, so she can kind of see him in the environment. But she's at the high-end table, and he's the kids' table. And drinks get delivered to the table, and this tall glass of milk shows up in front of her. So we're all like, I didn't order this. I didn't order this. And then she realizes that he ordered it for her.
Oh my God. I'm
Mhm.
obsessed.
Mhm.
People she's with are like, are you going to drink it? I wouldn't drink it. Are you going to drink it? And she just locks eyes and downs it.
Yeah, she
Downs
does.
the whole thing while
Yeah.
looking at him.
Yeah.
And then that's it for their interaction.
All
the
right.
night goes on. And then as she's getting ready to leave, he whizzes by her and just goes, good girl. And leaves. So up to this point, I'm on board. I'm like, all right, yeah, I like where this is going. I like the dynamic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then there's a part where it starts to change for me. She gets a message to meet at an address, and she knows it's from him. And she goes, and it is a 2-star hotel.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. He's not there. She's looking around the room, is kind of like, ugh. I think she finds a hair on the bed. It's so gross.
Mhm.
He shows up. He's in a tracksuit. He's in a trainer. And is very not commanding. And it's just like, yeah, all right. Why don't you go sit over there? And it's more of a suggestion. He doesn't know what to do with her.
Now that he's got her.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see this individual all of a sudden come out of his shell and be very dominant and get her to submit. It was more like he read BDSM for Dummies and was trying to act through it. Once I stepped back and looked at it, it was like two individuals who had no clue how to lead a dom-sub relationship.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. And he was trying things and she was going for it. At one point, Samuel takes Romy and he turns around and he puts her in the corner and makes her stand in the corner.
Like a timeout.
Like a timeout.
I mean, that's fine if it's done properly.
But no.
But it
was
wasn't
very
done properly.
weird and awkward. And I understand that someone who was a dom has those traits in there and they need to learn how to properly create a scene and a situation. But it was just kind of felt like two people fumbling out of the gates.
Yeah.
Mm.
They kind of have an idea of what they want, so they're going to explore it together, which is its own thing.
Right.
And is interesting, but it's also not what I thought we were going in for.
There was just such a funny scene where he takes, those candies that have the strawberry wrapper on it? They look like a strawberry and you undo them. They're
It's
an
a hard
old-timey candy.
Yes, exactly.
So he puts it in the palm of his hands and he has Romy get down on her hands and knees and he basically tells her to come, stop, put it in her mouth, and you watch him telling her what to do with it. And I'm not sure I found it sexy. It was funny and it was awkward. All of a sudden there were people laughing in the theater with us. I left and I said to Lex, there were so many funny moments in the movie. I go, were they intentional? Because I couldn't tell. He basically has her get down and he gives her an orgasm with the hand job.
Yep.
And I think the most intense moment of it is the entire time you're watching Romy's face. Nicole Kidman had to really be vulnerable in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing is that's such a good moment.
Yeah.
Because they make a very big distinction between the faked orgasm
Right.
and this
The
orgasm.
real.
And it's still faked because she's an actress, but
Sure.
the sounds she makes, they very specifically chose to make them not be cute.
Very
Sure.
unrestrained.
Yeah.
She was finally
Right.
being set free.
Yeah. Okay.
And that way, I really liked the film.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a different thing than what I went in going to see. You know what I mean?
Right. So did they get better at working together?
They must, because then we go to the montage where
Okay.
we just see them fucking in all kinds of situations
Yeah.
at work, back at the hotel.
Oh, I see.
They're sort of sexy dancing. Him being the dancer for her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a flip going for the female gaze there. So it bounces back and forth, actually.
Right.
there's always this struggle of who's actually in control, who's it meant for. So it kind of left me perplexed a lot of the time.
I will say, and Lex, I'm really curious about this from you. I think something that really missed the beat for me, and I don't know if it was an attraction thing, but
let me guess. Sam,
like the chemistry between Romy and Sam. Not that Harris Dickerson, who plays Samuel, was unattractive, but for me, the chemistry was not palpable. I mean, it was hot. Please don't get me wrong. But I wasn't like coming outside of my skin watching the two of them.
Sure.
I actually thought Antonio Banderas and Nicole Kidman had better chemistry.
Okay, so yes, this is the one thing for me. I would say I had to suspend my disbelief in that. Are you telling me that Antonio Banderas is not good in the bedroom? Bullshit.
Oh my God, that's so good.
It's a thing of, I don't think it was particularly about them wanting that specific person. I think specifically for her, any person could have stood in Sam's place. Harris Dickerson, in this role, I was just like, oh, honey, oh, sweetie. You had it for a little bit, but you just needed to carry it a little more. There comes a point where he just is lost that power, and I'm like, I'm not there.
Yeah.
And in my brain, it was just that Romy needed that person, and it happened to be this kid.
Sure.
It's not that it's his specific personality.
Right.
And I think there's something they say when they're in bed together and she's holding him almost like a child, where the dynamic flipped, and they were like, I like who I am when I'm with you. That's very different than I like being with you.
Mm-hmm. I think what would have ramped it up is if their chemistry was just on fire.
Sure.
Because then it would have just jumped off the screen and you would have been like, ooh, I got chicken skin watching the two of them. It was maybe I took off my coat. I just didn't feel the heat. I think when you're looking from the outside in and you're watching the trailer and you have what you think is one understanding of it, I think there's a second big layer component of it is, yes, she wants to be told what to do, but it's more the danger component, the illicitness of being in this relationship with them. That is what turns her on and gives her the high. So it's more multi-layered than being told what to do.
Yeah.
But a dom-sub relationship, there is a sense of danger and tabooness and illicitness to it.
Is there ever a point where she goes back to the husband?
Yes.
And we see her trying to take some of these learnings back to that bedroom?
The whole thing of the movie is they have their affair, and there's always this push-pull of should we be having it, not having it? Who has the power to say to stop? That's where the like kind of almost like fatal attraction thing almost kind of comes in, but it never hits that space. Romy actually tells her husband eventually.
Oh, okay.
But she lies about it.
Okay.
She says it was only once and with somebody he's never met. He's met him at work parties. Sam came and brought her papers or laptop or something at the summer home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
yeah,
He just shows up on the doorstep.
Mhm.
Also was kind of creepy. Jacob, Antonio Banderas' character, knows who this is.
Right.
So she lies about it and tries to express that, like, it's not about this person. It's that I'm looking for this thing. And she actually admits she's never had an orgasm with her husband.
She admits that to Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
In 19
No.
years. Yeah.
No.
It crushes him.
Oh, that's really sad.
The way she acts with Jacob is almost like a very young, playful, she hides herself. In a way, she is very coy with him and very shy. At one point mentioned she wanted to try something new and hit her head under the pillow and it was such an interesting dynamic that there was a power shift throughout the entire movie
Yeah.
that you just kind of had to watch with almost everybody.
And it's almost like she wants Jacob to take control or to almost, quote unquote, like take advantage of her. And he's like, I don't want to be the villain.
Right.
So in some ways, you know, she's got the guy who wants her to be an equal or to be in power, but sometimes she wants to give it up to him.
Right.
And there's a component we forgot to mention is she had a very unusual upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that she grew up in a commune. And so there's almost an implication that because of that background, there might have been something there that is also forming why she needs everything to be perfect. She needs to be in control of everything. She needs to have everything's just so.
Because she had so little control over that as
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lex, you know what? I really think we've set it up perfectly for a listener that's never heard of this. But I think the next half of the movie is what everybody should go out there and watch because it's a huge dynamic. You watch the affair come to light. You watch the reactions that happen. You watch the continued layers of the story happening. And
you see how it changes her family life. You see how it changes her work life.
Yeah.
And you see how just she has to grow. And she has a wonderful, beautiful, big boss lady moment right at the end. That is the cherry on top that I really liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
saying that, I do love this kind of movie in the sense that it's a PSA for people. Don't fake an orgasm.
So we went to go see the film with my partner, who also, the two of us write reviews for another site called Forces of Geeks. You can always go check those out. We came out of this being like, don't fake orgasms. Have open conversations about sex and what you want from it and what does your partner want from it. Kind of check in every once in a while.
So again, that is when you are in a solid relationship where you are open and you're okay to have these conversations. What played out is what happens majority of the time. Let's be real here. It is very hard for you to tell a partner that you've been with after you've had some trauma in your life that you think makes you weird or makes you different or makes you fucked or screwed up, to tell them you need something outside the norm, especially when you're talking generationally where this individual is coming from.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
It's true. This is much closer to real life in many cases.
But this is why we're here and having these conversations.
Yeah.
That's why we have the conversations about the books we read. This is why we are having the conversation about this movie, is we want to normalize these conversations. I think every time a person, it doesn't have to be a woman, but every time a person hears these kind of conversations being had, it makes it safer to have the conversation with your partner, partners, whoever. Have these conversations with your friends so that you have the ability to share it more in your relationship. Sometimes you got to test these conversations out in another area before you can bring it in the bedroom.
Sure. I mean, how this all could have gone was 19 years ago.
Yes.
Hey, you know, that was super fun, but I still haven't really gotten there yet. So, can we keep going? Can we try something a little different?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big difference.
I also want you to take into consideration, think about when you first started having sex. I'm not going to give you the amount of years it's been for me. We're just going to avoid that. But I think there is definitely a difference in the openness of individuals and the knowledge in the database that is now out there with the onset of everybody having the ability to have porn.
Yes.
Porn is a very mainstream thing.
Yeah.
And I think people learn too much from porn, but they also get the opportunity to see fetishes and kinks that they may have not known existed and found that they're aroused by it. It opens an entire storybook up for you with 85,000 chapters that you may not have known was there.
Well, that's exactly the point, though.
But 19 years ago, she may have not known this was her jam. She
Yeah,
may have just
okay.
thought love and romance and you have sex What is an orgasm?
Okay.
What turns me on?
So then, okay, rewind back 5 years maybe to when she's going downstairs after they're having sex. How about maybe after that very first time where she did that, where she's like, you know what? I do need something else. And it's right here on the computer.
Absolutely. And that's actually like, they provided the production notes for us from the director.
Ooh,
and
interesting.
That's something that the director said was, if Romy had just had the conversation at the beginning of this movie, what she needed, we wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course. That's the Lex comment right there.
But at the same time, we need to go on that journey, and she needed to go on that journey to be able to get there.
Right. I'm pulling a Lex right now.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Well, if she would have just said that thing.
And I think that's what's actually great about this movie. So, okay, it wasn't the Dom sub movie I wanted to go see to get hot and bothered. What it is just a great telling of what happens to a lot of people and how they feel about sex.
Yeah.
I love that the director and writer is the same person. It is a woman. She was an actress. She actually was in a lot of the 90s, like, sexual thrillers. And now she's writing and directing these movies because she wants to turn that genre on its head and make it for the female gaze.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of the male gaze out there.
Yeah.
Or I should say the straight male gaze.
Right.
And just opening it up so that there's another view of this.
So I can't lie. There's 2 elements that are definitely convincing me that I would want to go see this. First of all, blind trust in A24.
Yes.
Absolute blind
They've
trust.
had some fantastic films.
I will watch anything that they distribute. They've curated their collection wonderfully. The other element to this that I'm torn with is if I rethink about watching the trailer and I rethink about everything that I know now from both of you, would I still want to go see this as much if there wasn't such a huge name associated with that main character? I don't know. I would love to see Nicole Kidman in this role.
And you should. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is I love that there are being films produced with women who are sexually empowered and they're past 50.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we haven't even touched the surface of that.
Yeah.
It rings so much more true because of the age, because of the duration of that relationship she and her husband have. It's so much more gravity to it. And it's so much more interesting and thoughtful because of her age. I appreciate it a lot more. I'm grateful that they put somebody who is actually that age in the role that the character is supposed to be.
I think she's actually even a little older than the person, unless she had her children at an older age.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
So
sure.
it could read either way.
Right.
And she is just fucking fearless in this role. I mean, anytime an actress is okay with being nude in a film without a body double, let alone fully nude, let alone just allowing themselves to not look pretty during having an orgasm. Oh my God.
Right.
You being you would love the costuming because the costuming reads it like when she's buttoned up, she really is buttoned up.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh, yeah.
She has some fucking kick-ass shoes and coats that I was watching the whole time. But that just speaks to her powerful persona
Sure.
and the way she walks and the dresses that she's wearing. And
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I'm here for it.
Excellent.
I'm very excited. I mean, wow, what a movie to go out and see on Christmas Day.
I know, right?
Meow, meow, meow.
It'll certainly make the conversation around the table much more interesting.
But the movie still in itself, I think, had so many layers. And Lex and I come in at very different views as a viewer of this.
Right.
I am like, where is my entertainment value? What did I feel when I watched it? Was there heat? And I think once I stepped back, I was like, oh, this was like a 14-layer sandwich, and I wasn't just getting bologna and cheese here.
Yeah.
I was getting a lot more depth than I had initially thought was going to be in this.
And of course,
Fair.
I'm making, notes about the score was really good, but the soundtrack was sometimes distracting.
I thought the music was kick-ass.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We won't spoil it, but there's
Yeah.
one song that when it came on, everybody we were viewing with laughed out loud.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was intentionally meant to be humorous,
Okay.
like tongue in cheek,
Okay.
but it was just like, oh God, okay. Yep. Got you there.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to keep an ear out for that. That's interesting.
And of course, Lex, I know today you picked a signature cocktail
Mhm.
that goes along because, of course, we can't be in a room without a cocktail in hand discussing this.
Calling it The Switch because this film was neither dom nor sub, but because of the bar scene where she drinks the tall glass of milk, I made a little bit of a variation on a White Russian. So use your dairy of choice. Mine was oat milk.
Honestly, I usually am really picky about oat milk, and maybe it was the Irish cream,
I think
but it creamed it up real nice for me.
Serve it fucking ice cold.
Yeah. Make sure you visit us at the Lusty Library Podcast on Facebook and Instagram at the lustylibrarypodcast.com to get the Switch recipe. So this is what I think every listener out there needs to do. Grab your lady friends.
Yes.
Go have yourselves a nice little dinner and go out and watch Babygirl.
Yes.
And either love it, enjoy it, have a good old time, but have a
talk
great
about-
conversation afterwards
Yeah.
about those situations because there was a lot of good stuff happening in this movie.
Right.
I think we need to circle back once you've seen it. Because
Yes.
I really want to know your
Yeah.
thoughts on it.
Oh, 100%.
We'll do another little quickie later.
I'm going to have to bring a notepad to this, no doubt.
Thanks for joining us in the screening room for this quickie. I hope we left you satisfied.
Oh.
Oh, gosh. Thanks for listening. We will be back to our regularly scheduled saucy book review. So check us out at the Lusty Library podcast.com and on all of your listening platforms. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.